I'm going to be explaining how to solve problems involving simple interest and compound interest. First, I'll explain simple interest. The formula for simple interest is I equals PRT. This stands for interest equals principal multiplied by the rate, then multiplied by the time. This formula is very helpful when trying to solve a simple interest problem. Here is an example of a problem we will solve. Suppose you deposit $400 in a savings account and keep it in the bank for 6 years. The annual interest rate is 5%. What is the interest? We want to find out how much money you earn after keeping $400 in a bank for 6 years with an interest rate of 5%. First, you would apply the formula I equals PRT. The interest is unknown. The principal, or deposit, is $400. Since the interest rate is 5%, we change it to 0.05. This is because it is 5 over 100%. Therefore, the rate would be 5/100ths, or 0.05. The money was kept in the bank for 6 years. Therefore, the time would be 6 years. The first step is to multiply 400 by 0.05. If you have one, put this into your calculator.
Hi, my name is Gabby. I'm going to tell you how to multiply
400 multiplied by 0.05 is equal to 20. The next step is to take the time, 6, and multiply it by 20. 6 multiplied by 20 is equal to 120. Therefore, the interest is $120. Let's see if you can identify the parts and label them correctly. Your friend deposits $200 into a savings account and keeps it in the bank for 5 years. If the interest rate is 5%, how much interest did you earn? What is the principal?
My name is Gabby. I'm going to tell you how to multiply negative and positive numbers.
200.
Formula an easy way of how to remember to multiply them.
What is the rate?
A positive times a positive
0.05.
a negative times
What is the time?
equals a positive. A positive
5.
times a negative equals a negative.
Next, I'll explain compound interest. The formula we will need to know to solve a compound interest problem is B equals P, 1 plus R, N. This stands for balance,
Hi, my name
or
is
B,
Gabby. I'm going to tell you how to multiply
equals 1 plus the rate,
an easy way
or N, then multiplied by the principal,
a
or P,
times a positive
and the number of years,
a negative times a
N.
negative equals a positive. A positive
Here is a problem we will solve.
a negative times a positive equals a negative.
When Jimmy was born, his mom opened up a savings account for him. How much money does Jimmy have if the interest rate was 5% compounded annually? The principal, or the starting amount, was $1,000, and he has the account for 10 years. Let's apply the formula. B equals P, 1 plus R, N. The balance is unknown. The principal is $1,000. The rate is 0.05. Compounded annually, and the number is 10 years. Now, your problem will look like this. First, do the problem in the parentheses. 1 plus 0.05 is 1.05. Next, you need to multiply it by the 10th power.
Tell you how to multiply negative and positive numbers. Here's the formula.
This equals 1.6288994.
Hi, my name is
627.
I'm going to tell you how to
So,
multiply negative
this
by
number,
positive number.
and
Here's
so
the
on.
formula on an easy way to solve for
Next, multiply it by the principal, which is 1,000.
positive times a positive equals a positive. A negative times a negative equals a positive. A positive times a negative
The
equals
decimal
a
number
positive.
will be
A negative times a positive equals a
1628 decimal
Here are some
894627, and so on.
examples.
Round to the nearest whole
A
number,
positive 4
and
times
you will
a
get
positive 4 equals a positive
1,629.
A negative 4 times a negative 4 equals
Another problem.
16.
Suppose you use a credit card
Times negative 4 equals negative 20.
to purchase a bicycle.
Negative 6
If there are no
times
additional late fees,
equals negative
how much
15.
would you owe after a year of not paying off the balance?
Positive
Round to the
4
nearest dollar. The bike costs $150. The annual interest rate is 30% compounded monthly. Apply the formula. B equals P1 plus Rn. First, we find R. Another formula is used when you try to figure out interest if compounded more than once a year. This formula is R equals annual interest rate divided by the number of interest periods per year. First, do 30% and divide it by 12, because there are 12 months in a year.
Oh, it's really the bracket.
This equals 0.025. Now find n. The formula is n equals the number of interest periods per year multiplied by the number of years invested. We would solve this n equals 12 times 1, which would equal 12. Now set up the original formula. B equals 150 12. That would be your formula. First, add 0.025 to 1 because it is in parentheses. This equals 1.025. Then put it into the 12th power. This would equal 1.348 and so forth. Round this number to the nearest thousandths, and this would get you to 1.345. Next, multiply 1.345 by 150. This equals 201.75. Round this to the nearest dollar to get $202. You would owe about $202 after 1 year of not paying off the balance. Now you know how to do simple and compound interest.